All right, guys. Well, we are live. So, welcome back to episode 6 of Let's Hash It Out. So, today we're joined by Javier and Steak. We got a few reservations out there for a few different people, hoping they can join us. Got their tags down at the bottom of the page here, scrolling at the bottom. So, like Karma, if you can join, dude, we'd love to have you. I just was in a space a moment ago, and Shellfish was in there. So, Shellfish, just a quick little note: if you'd like a link to join in, we'd love to have you in a discussion. I've heard you in spaces many times, discuss different things with many different of y'all. So, yeah, we kind of want to dive in a little bit with XRP and dab a little bit on XLM and go from there and see where that leads us with some of this. So, anyway, guys, welcome. Want to thank all the listeners. Please subscribe. We see the numbers, and it's just it's like how are we the only ones seeing different things? And we're just trying to bring information out to the forefront for y'all to get, for everyone. It's about the information. I'm not selling you anything. So anyway, guys, where y'all want to go to first? What rabbit hole?
Sure, I'll let Steak find out
beneath?
which one.
Where you want to go,
Steak?
Steak?
Well, that's a good question. And I'm here. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening. Um, so there's one rabbit hole I've been liking for the last 2.5 years. It's my own rabbit hole. It's home right now. And there's the chance of confirmation bias there because you want to see things that you want to connect. And I try to discipline myself not to be a fanboy or just stick to the facts and not too much of the conjecture. So one of the rabbit holes that I like, or the biggest rabbit hole I'm in, and it you know, kind of moves to all the other rabbit holes, is that the EU and the US are on the same page when it goes to regulation of digital assets. And the reason I'm interested in that rabbit hole is because Gary Gensler has had many meetings with the European Commission where he actually stated it at the start of his visits multiple times that they want the same regulation in the EU as in the US for several years now. We all know Gary Gensler as the spokesperson for the SEC of the last several years and the lawsuits they did. So what did I do? I looked up what the EU did or wanted to do, and they created a bill. And they created a bill called MICA, MICA, MICA regulation. Last year, in June and in September eventually, they voted it in twice. So the law is going to be implemented and it's going to be enforced. And it's a law in regards to digital assets. So what does it touch on? It touches on how exchanges need to operate. It touches on how blockchain projects need to operate. It touches on how you need to deal with privacy and anti-money laundering. It touches on know your customer. It touches on stable coins. It touches on securities, commodities, but also something that Europe has that the US doesn't have, which is utilities. There is something such as a utility token in the MiCA regulation. Everything is regulated. It's 900 pages. It's elaborate, and it's basically if you're looking at it through rose-tinted lenses, and I know this is easier for a person in the EU than in the US, it basically says we're going to protect retail and we're not going to allow corporations to prey on retail and shake the tree. So they manipulate the market and make money over the backs of ordinary citizens. Vastly different than what we have now, obviously. So what I've been looking at is this true? Does the US want the same thing as the EU? Because now I know what the EU wants. It's actually written down with timelines when this thing will become mandatory. I'll touch on that later. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, what's happening in the US? And then you see the last couple of years, and many people listening here probably have been aware of it. You see the SEC filing court cases left and right. Not to the entire market, because as Gary Gensler said, we don't have the money for a big enough team to go at the entire market. So we have to cherry pick certain projects to create what I think is jurisprudence so that they can, through those court cases, create a sort of legal net, a framework on which the market should operate. So we've seen court cases with XRP, we've seen court cases with Library, court case with Dragon Chain, court case with insider trading of Wahi, SEC versus Wahi, which touches on 9 ERC20 tokens and LCX, an exchange token. We've seen Veritasium. We've seen many more. We've seen them go after exchanges and so forth. And now we also see Congress moving and the CFTC, which deals with not securities, but commodities, moving. So the CFTC is kind of in a political war with the SEC that says, well, hey, SEC, you're kind of overreaching here with your law by decree and your jurisprudence. We don't like that. And that happened after the SEC versus Wahi court case, where for insider trading, projects were listed as securities, but they weren't listed as defendants. So the CFTC said, you can't do that. You can't name things securities without having them be able to defend themselves. So they were at war, so to speak, from a political perspective, and they say Gary Gensler overreached, the SEC overreached, and the CFTC wants to do their due diligence and be cleaner in who they add. And the CFTC so far have said, we've added Bitcoin as a commodity and we've added Litecoin as a commodity. But the debate on Ethereum is still out, regardless of what the SEC says. And with the XRP court case, it also says that now not the SEC, but the CFTC gets to decide which exchanges are going to operate and be compliant. Now, this is important going forward. So what does this MICA bill says as well? This MICA bill says two interesting timelines, among other things, but two interesting timelines. It says that in April, March 2024, that's next year, in April, March, coins and blockchain projects, stablecoins included, will have to comply with all the legislation in there, which is the Know Your Customer, anti-money laundering, trading in digital assets, being transparent, having privacy regulation in check, and so forth. For a stablecoin, it says algorithmic stablecoins are not allowed unless they have one-on-one backing. It's interesting because no stablecoin has that right now. Not really. We see this with Tether right now. We see Circle moving. We see PayPal entering the market. This is a hot topic right now because that date is coming closer. And we also see that in the NDAA bill, Senator Warren and Grillich and another one, I think Mullis or something, snuck in a passage that in 120 days, stablecoins need to be compliant with anti-money laundering and know your customer. So that's the same thing as the MICA regulation. They just snuck it in a different bill. And they thought, oh, this tidbit needs to be there. Just snuck it in. You know, just do it. Just what's the next bill coming along? NDAA? Yeah, just snuck in that little bit. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Just throw it in there. It has nothing to do with the bill, but you know, throw it in there anyway. Okay. So you see that happening. You see Tether being sued. You see Circle on Binance with Tether having issues by not being backed by Tether. So it's going down, it's tanking. It's only 93% backed. So not one-on-one, not 100%. And you see PayPal entering the market. So that's an interesting thing that I think, oh, okay. So if we're looking at the US and the EU and we look at the red wire between all the SEC court cases, I see jurisprudence there. All the court cases that the SEC did are what I think on utility tokens. I think Ethereum is a utility. I think XRP is a utility. I think Library, LCX, Dragon Chain, Veritasium, I think they're all utilities. Maybe Veritasium is a commodity. We can touch into that later. But, you know, that's the red wire that I see with the SEC.
It also depends on how it is used. So whatever asset can be used as a commodity. However, it can also be used as a currency, and also separately, if a contract were created, even say within XRP, that contract could be then viewed as a security separately.
So let's go into another quick
And I have a few
timeline.
questions too
Yeah, Javier, give
before
me a
we
second.
get. Yes, I will.
The second timeline, March and April next year, 2024. Coins need to clean up and be compliant. September, October, 6 months later, in 2024, next year, exchanges need to be compliant. And on top of being compliant, they are expected that when they see fraudulent business in the market, to report that within 24 hours, and in certain cases, immediately to enforcement, which is Interpol. So they're from being the crooks, if we have to believe Johnny Law, and I kind of believe him, that they're market making everything and shaking the tree and just adding coins and coins and coins, from being the assholes that prey on retail, these exchanges. They suddenly have to clean up shop and be the policeman of the entire space. That's what the law expects them to become. And I think that poses interesting questions for a Binance that's now in hot seat. It poses interesting questions for Coinbase with their preferred supplier for BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF, and also with a lawsuit for intellectual property, which could go in there too, and different other exchanges that have their issues. And to top the whole cherry on the cake, and then I'll land my UFO, I think the holy grail, at least I'm the only one that thinks about this, is moving the old legacy money to the new blockchain innovation. And I don't think there's going to be one winner. I think there's going to be different blockchains for different financial aspects in society. They require different consensus models, but that's the holy grail. How do you move this old money from, I think, Switzerland, from Swiss banking, into blockchain? And then if you look at certain projects, and there's projects that we talked about here, I think it ties into it. Do I think is there confirmation bias? Fuck, I hope not. I hope I did my due diligence. But that's a rabbit hole I like, and I've been talking for almost 10 minutes on that, and I've just laid out the framework. I haven't gone into details or what I think is
Yeah.
evidence to it.
No,
But I think the EU and the US are doing the same thing. That's my conviction.
You know what, Steak? I this time truly agree with you. Let me see. I can't see what I wrote. Protecting retail. Yes, I see that. Here's a question: when you say stable coins, can it being 1-to-1? Could it be 1-to-1 to an asset? In other words, also equals to Bitcoin in whatever Satoshis. 1-to-1 equals whatever grains of gold. Or is
Well,
it
that's just a
1-to-1
wrapped.
the
That's
US
just a wrapped
dollar?
asset.
Well, exactly. It's what I'm trying to find out. Because once you go into that rabbit hole, then absolutely anything asset. My home could be an asset. And if I need a loan, there's a risk to reward to getting a loan for a house, for a person. And so now the assets, we start joining the assets, and it's not truly just not only a physical dollar, but a digital dollar that is being controlled. The meat potatoes are the either the coins or the whatever asset there is, building, grain, futures.
No, it has to be one-on-one backed by actual liquidity.
Yeah, but what the hell are we talking about? To me, we go back to it's a dollar, which is a derivative, and
Mind
then
you,
they're
this
pulling
is the MiCA
derivatives on.
regulation. The US hasn't said this yet, but there have been, there was a lawsuit against Bittrex that doesn't really gain a lot of clout, or has gained a lot of clout, but they ceased to operate in the US. And that's what happens, right? The US cannot really lag behind the EU here, because talent that develops in the US on this new innovation doesn't know what they need to be doing in order to be compliant. If you're working on code for 2 to 3 years on a project and you don't know if it's going to pay out or not, because you don't know if you're going to be in jail if you go through with it, Yeah, because you don't have a
Yeah.
regulatory clarity. You
I,
can't build on it. You don't know. And
Well, that's
if you
that's
do
the way
know,
crypto has been since 2014.
exactly.
There was once a day we didn't know if what we were doing was illegal, and we were all going to jail.
Right, exactly. So you don't, from a US perspective, you don't want your talent in blockchain and finance, digital finance, future of finance. You don't want them to say, well, then I'll just move to France or England or Switzerland
Or
or
Portugal.
the Netherlands or Germany or Portugal or United Arab Emirates or Japan or Singapore or Hong Kong.
exactly.
You don't want them to
And I
move.
have seen that. I have
Yes, of
seen the
course, we
start
all
of
have.
that.
Everyone has gone. All the big
And
players
so
have gone
now it's
offshore.
scaring. And
Yeah,
so
so you
hopefully to
listed a
keep
few
people
exchanges there.
in.
You listed
Hmm.
a few exchanges there, Dave. What
Yeah,
did you rank them on?
I'm looking at the actual volume that's going through exchanges currently on XRP. So right now we have number one is Binance, number two is
Sure.
Huobi, and
Yeah,
in
who
that
own
instance,
85% of the Bitcoin of Tether, and they're the player
exactly.
that, and they just launched PayPal as a stable coin. So fuck them. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, and my thing is, what's the thing on Binance? Is that a look here, look over here, and it's a chosen one just because of how big it is, and brought into a compliance to where I don't see a way. I see it too
It's
strong
conjecture, Javier.
outside the
Right.
U.S.
Again, that's why I look at on-chain volume. I don't look at reported market cap owned by Binance, which is just Chinese mafia. Which basically
Yeah,
it's one hand selling, it's the left hand selling to the right hand, and it does not go on chain until it is withdrawn from any exchange.
Yeah, they
However,
right.
manipulate the
between that,
price.
they can see the order
Exactly,
book, they
Steak.
can see the puts and the calls, they can see who's trading on leverage, and they can go in and wipe you out.
Yeah,
So
that's
hold
what
the
they do.
asset,
Not
withdraw
only
from the exchange.
not
Not
only that,
compete.
we are still printing money, and I hate to bring that back up, but we're still printing money, and so the game is completely and totally rigged. I mean, if I will win at the end, it doesn't matter. I'll bet the whole hand every single time until you end up losing, and it just takes that one hand for me to put it all in. And even if I've lost 15 times, 20 times, eventually I'm going to win that because all you I keep I have an endless treasure trove of
Well,
money
didn't
right
Clint
now,
say?
and
Didn't Clint say it's a casino? You know,
it is a
the
casino.
house wins.
The house definitely wins, and for that to happen, you've got to give a dog a bone because there will. It's okay right now that nobody knows and everything's still. You could still go to the store. You could still buy overpriced eggs, but you could still do it. You have when people start losing what they have, they will start questioning it. And that's
No, they
when they
will.
will be influenced in any other direction but the direction that they're wanting to. So for them to win, they need to start at least appearing that they're playing the game well. I see that the BRICS nations are trying to bring in gold. Good, bad, or otherwise, it doesn't really matter. To me, looking at it 2 years ago, at least I would say, at least it's backed by something. At
Yeah,
least
sure,
that's
Javier.
backed by something. Right
Sure,
now, we
but then
don't
you have.
have anything that's
We don't have anything that's. Javier.
we need to get to a point where the direction has to be clear. And I'm going to tell you,
Yes.
we are in spaces right now where the people that we are speaking to are absolutely and totally. And we've been mentioning this. I don't know, Dave and I've been mentioning it for way over a year. And me with well, you've been there too, Steve. We're trying to give an awareness of listen, these the stakes, excuse the pun, but it's not an
Yes,
even
I'm just one guy though.
it's not an even playing field, and to me, that's
No, it is.
okay. I'll play that game. I'll play the game as long as we know that there are no rules and they can change and they can put Pepe coin to whatever the hell they want.
Sure.
Then I realize that this is the game that we're playing, and then I will play the odds. I will throw mud at the wall because I'm
Sure.
$300 can make me an extremely wealthy person, regardless if the coin does anything or not.
So
Kind of
if
like
we
in
go down
17.
if we go down this rabbit hole, Javier.
Oh,
of like,
Karma, it seems, has
Okay.
just joined us.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Karma.
good.
Hey, Karma.
Great.
Hello,
Welcome.
Karma. Welcome, Karma. We've talked a few times, I'm sure.
I know that
In some
picture.
of your space.
You're still on mute, by the way. If you unmute yourself, then that'd be great. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You made it.
No?
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I hope you heal soon with those ribs, man. I was listening to what you were saying.
Oh man, I'm not.
What happened?
Yeah, I got kicked. Oh yeah, but anyway, what you guys talking about?
Well, I've been talking about my rabbit hole that I think the EU legislation will happen in the US in almost the same form as well. And from a regulation point of view, but in it through the SEC, the CFTC, and Congress eventually, of course. But and that at some point, there is a red wire between all the SEC court cases, and we know each other from XRP spaces. I really respect your views. You taught me a lot about how everything in that ecosystem works. I'm more of a person that has looked at different areas of the market, but that we've been talking about that. I've shared that, but I'm just great that I just think it's great that you're on, because I really want to delve into what XRP is doing and maybe its connection with Fed now, if there is any. But maybe you could touch on that. I don't know.
And just a little bit from me, Karma. I was a guy that visited y'all spaces. I got into it because of Dave and Steak, and jumped into it just as throwing mud at the wall, and then realized as I was going spaces and the importance of the spaces to be able to go and listen to a person like you and some of the other people in the XRP community. I started putting value on XRP. It's still not the one I've done the most homework with because it's the recent one that I've taken in, but I do understand at first coin everything everybody's ever said about it. And now, gosh, once you start digging a little deeper and once someone starts explaining some of the stuff that is being explained out there, then you start understanding more and more value. And so now it's becoming a more desirable coin for me, even though I still don't know everything about it. And kudos to you, and kudos to every time that you have a space. You're always on there. I appreciate that you're always educating your community, and it's open for anybody to go in there. I've been in there not knowing anything, and you've allowed me to speak, and so thank you for that. I just wanted to say that. Did I lose everybody?
No, no, well said.
Yeah.
Okay. I have, like I said, XRP is starting to become very valuable. And now I'm going there. I find myself going to y'all spaces. And you know what? It is so strong that there's always an XRP space going on. There's always somebody talking about XRP. And so now that it's a coin that I hold, very easy to start getting more educated. And I brought controversial at the beginning, controversial ideas, bankers, all the traditional shit. But as you stick around and aren't just booted off, hey, get the hell out of here, we started seeing value. I started seeing value. I don't do as much research or know how to do the research that Dave and Stake do, but I do
Well,
listen quite a bit, and so I
and
look for those keys.
just to let everyone out there know, if you have any questions on XRP or XLM or whatnot, please just
Or
make
Flare.
a post in the messages in the live
Yeah,
chat.
or Interledger
And-
Protocol. So Karma, you're still on mute, right? I would love, I'm just dying and I'm impatient. Sorry to cut you off, Dave. But could you touch a little bit on Fed now? Because it seems to me that it almost looks like they're describing what Ripple has built. What do you think of that, Karma?
Yeah. Oh, give me a second. I'm in a store.
Sure. They'll be lucky to have you.
I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'll be right back.
Great. Yeah, so we can fill in the void, Dave. Sorry to cut you off.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. So, I mean, what I find interesting are the connections within XRP, and then I look over at XLM, and then I remember a few years ago they burned half of their known supply, so they went from 100 billion to 50 billion, and yet it did absolutely nothing to the price. Yet again, why has Jeb McCaleb never had to answer any questions? So a lot has happened there, from Mount Gox all the way to the fork of XRP to create Stellar. So where was this guy back then? And why, like I said, why have no questions been asked to him? But now with XRP as the only that has gone before the SEC, in my opinion, not a security. But again, it depends on how you use an asset, whether it is defined as a commodity, as a currency, or within a smart contract, then it could be actually deemed a security. But the asset itself is not a security, in my opinion. I would disagree with Ethereum. I would say that is from the jump, really. Many different aspects there to dive and look at, but I'm more interested in moving forward into the future and how XRP is going to be interoperable between assets of the decentralized into the centralized system. So say if we wish to take profit, say we have Litecoin, we want to move Litecoin through XRP and then into our checking account. Is that the same route that's going to happen with stable coins, where they want us to use FedNow or USDC or whatever
Or
that
PayPal.
may be, and well, to further dox us. I mean, cryptocurrency is nothing more than the ability of accounting to inception. So
Now you're speaking Karma's language. I hope he's done with
to
the
think
store.
that you are going to bypass something and skate away, and get away free. Look, IRS and everything else got 87,000 agents coming online. I mean, and then they can go back 7 years. And yes, while you, the individual, may or may not be able to go through a chain analysis and to determine where such coins went and were spent, and however, just as one person, well, what do you think Big Brother is capable of doing in this? And I mean, you're just kidding yourself. If you go to move money, and but here brings up my question of XRP in the Nostro Vostro, right? So whereas the United States wants to send 300 million to Japan for whatever reason, right, or to Ukraine, anyway. However,
in 3 seconds. Not 3 days.
So my question here within XRP is, like, on the XRPL, the ledger. So is if one nation state decides, or through whatever intermediary, JP Morgan, HSBC, whomever it may be, Bank of Santander, whoever, right? So if one financial institution or nation state moves 300 million to another with that liquidity, I don't see where that actually does affect price, because what you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the opposite side of the equation. So if you have 300 million entering, you have 300 million exiting, unless you tie this to some sort of a known value, a declared value by decree, if you will, by these different nation states or whomever. So like with 10,000 drops per XRP, well, what could that actually be divisible into? So,
Well, it
but
could be the bond market and the derivative market coming on chain, because you
I
get a
think
deep
there's
pool of
more. I
liquidity.
think there's more at play than all of us know. It's just
Well,
trying
Sure.
to
So
connect the dots.
just wait, Javier, just for a summary for Karma. So we got this whole,
yeah,
but
let's
yeah, because
bombard
he's in
him
the
with
store,
every
right?
question that we have.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he's
right now.
exactly, because he's in the store, right? So we got
Yeah,
like the connection with XRP and Fed now. We got the utility aspect of it and the Nostro Vostro accounts and how it all works with what Dave just laid out, and in your 2 cents on it, because you have an accounting background. I think you would be a great person to maybe help us and the community out. What are we looking at?
Did we lose
I'm
him?
back.
Yeah.
No, I'm. Oh God. Yeah, I'm back. And oh goodness, somebody asked a question a minute ago, but I didn't hear it.
Oh, Karma, I'll give you a
Oh,
quick summary, okay? All right, can you hear me now? You're still on mute. Feel free to leave it on.
Oh, geez, Louise. No, you're good. I can hear you.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure what the what the question was.
Yes, I'm gonna summarize quickly for you, okay? So
Oh, yeah.
is there or what is the connection between XRP or Ripple as a company and Fed now? Because it looks like they're describing Ripple XRP in Fed now. Is Ripple, in your honest opinion, a security or a utility? I know the answer, or how you use the asset, but maybe you could touch on that. You have an accounting background, and Dave has been saying, well, what is the value with the interoperability?
I'm pretty damn sure I'm the one that originally came up with the whole idea of utility value. And Fed now is a domestic thing. XRP ledger is a international thing. I mean, I don't see much. It's been goofy because I've heard several folks trying to effectively get themselves excited about Fed now, but like regarding like from the God, I'm sorry, from the XRP community, and I don't see the connection. I mean, to me, one's a domestic system, one's a international system. Those are just two
let me
different.
ask you a quick question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My question to you was going to be, how important do you see? I don't know. I think there's 30 million Americans, and XRP, part of the rest of the world, already functioning. How important is the Fed now, or Fed coin, or Fed whatever the hell? What is it that you see in it? Are we that big a player? Is the U.S. that big a player in it?
I don't see, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but I don't see that much in Fed now. I mean, it's better than sending a wire, or it's better than using an ACH transfer. But it's all still just a domestic transaction that's settled up through the central bank. So it's just is what it is.
Yeah, I'm seeing it the same way. I just don't see us being the player, especially now. As big a player we are financially in a financial where we could buy into XRP right now, but I don't see the value of what's going on in the banking system outside of it with XRP. It's actually being used. Here they're stifling us. So, okay, we the people are being cock blocked, but eventually, if there's 8,330,000,000, we'll either adapt to that way or we'll lose out or we'll be
Hey,
shut down.
Javier and Dave, just a housekeeping question. Can you, Dave, DM me the link to the space on Twitter? Several people want to listen in, and if you could tweet it out, maybe with our tags into it, I'll retweet it and send it to some people. Is that possible, Dave? Okay, great. Sorry, Javier and Karma, go ahead.
No, that's just I don't have the faith here in the U.S. Yes, we are organized, yes, but I think that we put too much involvement into a small portion of the people, while we are being, not we, people in crypto, but the outside people are definitely being kept that and being scared away with the banker coin and all the other crap that everybody says about it, but it's actually functioning outside the U.S. And so I'm starting to see more value and more. My thing is, give me the odds, and now I'm definitely understanding where it could go. And I don't truly understand the difference between Ripple and XRP, but that's for another question. I guess, how important do you see the U.S. being in the decision making of XRP is my question to you. Or
I don't know if you're asking me that question. But
yeah, I'm
XRP,
asking you or anyone. Go ahead.
XRP and Ripple are excuse me, are completely and totally different. Totally different. One is a private company, the other is a distributed network. I mean, they're just completely different. Different in nature, different in the participants and who are the operators. Just the whole boat. They're just completely and totally different.
Well, I understand that, but to bring a little hash to this, it is XRP that's financing the legal suits for XRP. That's financing the legal suit for XRP, maybe. And I don't know as much as these guys, so I'm just a green guy asking the questions.
Well, you got to say, okay, fine. XRP is, financing this stuff, but who's buying the XRP, right? Because ultimately, those legal bills are paid in dollars. So somebody's got to give up dollars in exchange for XRP. I mean, you got to have some sort of liquidity there.
Yeah, and so what you're saying is the money's coming, the deep pockets are coming from XRP, not so much from Ripple. And like I said, I'm totally green to this, so I know nothing. I'm wanting to find out more.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's it's one of these goofy things that people seem to get fixated on.
Sure.
To me, it doesn't make much sense for like to be a thing to get fixated on, but at the same time, people do seem to like to get fixated on like and I don't know if it's just like a jealousy thing, and people are like, oh my goodness, these other people are gonna be like wildly successful or make a lot of money, and that's terrible because they're gonna make more than me, right? Hence the jealousy type. I think that's kind of the motivation for where some of these comments come from, and I apologize for my for my hiccups. And, but
Yeah, sure. You're in pain, but
yeah,
that,
it's been bullshit for a couple of years. I mean,
it is. It's one of those things where it's touchy. To go into spaces still, there is a lot of knowledge. Sometimes it's an intimidation still. Ever, I've always been accepted to speak and to say whatever question. But being as green into the XRP community, um, you sometimes like go, no, that's just too stupid of a question for me to go. What is the true difference between RIP? How is it separated? It's got some kind of and XRP, but that's for a further show. I would rather get into some of the stuff that Steak was talking about and Blind Dave was talking about, because that's definitely the meat and potatoes. And I can go on to your one of your next shows and ask some of these, I think, simpler questions that I wanted to have. I think Dave had some great questions. I think for I don't know if Dave wants to bring them up or Steak has.
Yeah, one of the questions that Dave asked Karma, and I appreciate that you're with your conditions, you're taking time out of your day to be here. I want that to be said. I greatly respect it. Thank you. I think one of the questions that Dave wanted to ask is about the Nostro Vostro accounts. Like, if things take a long time now, that money is in a pool somewhere, but if it goes in an interoperability and it goes very quickly, maybe the US wants to send 300 million to Japan or to the Bank of Santander or Ukraine or whatever, then is there a value on on XRP or any other network that they would use by doing that, because the money would go in there, but it would also immediately go out there. So what's your opinion on Nostro Vostro and XRP?
it's oh goodness, I'm sorry. It's all about liquidity. Uh, um, um, because okay, just consider XRP like a unit of value. It's irrelevant in its own independent state, right? Like it's only relevant when it's, well, pun intended, held relative to other units of value, right? So if you don't have the liquidity, then you basically got nothing. I know that's like a half answer, but
No, it's okay.
yeah, it's the most important thing is to have the liquidity. And
So
this is
let me ask you one more question in regards to that I think is interesting. What's your relation, or what's your opinion on a possible relation between XRP and stablecoins?
oh goodness, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, that's why I asked him. We will let. But your opinion, though, your personal opinion on it.
Well, the follow-up question is stable to what? right? Is it a
Thank you. I asked that
stable?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, is it a stable coin to dollars, euros, gold, silver, Bitcoin? What the hell is it stable to? I mean, you
So
got
what
to
do you
start with that.
what do you think what do you think would be most practical for the current state of affairs in the world?
Well, usually when people are talking a stable coin, it's stable to some fiat, dollars,
Correct.
euros.
Yes, usually.
Yeah, but you've also seen, I think, and I've touched on this, Karma. I'll repeat it briefly because I think you missed that part, perhaps, is that the EU law, which I think is going to be the same in the US, wants a one-to-one backing and doesn't want algorithmic stablecoins. And it's going to have to be compliant probably by March, April next year. And we see a lot of movement in the market lately in regards to Tether and Circle and now PayPal entering. What do you make of that?
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of that.
So we see a lot of movement in the market with Tether, Circle, and PayPal. And what do you make of that?
Uh, um, oh goodness. Not. I don't honestly make too much of it. Uh, I mean, PayPal has been around this world for quite some time. With some good innovative thinkers. But the idea that PayPal would want to do a stable coin, again, you have to go back to the question, well, stable to what? If
Well, stable to a digital dollar, I guess.
well, exactly. What was I was about to
Yeah, but
say?
what the hell for?
Sheet is denominated in dollars.
Right. So
So,
who's printing?
Well,
well,
maybe let me
pay,
ask it a different way, Karma. You know what? How long before we go into asset based stable coin? And I mean assets by anything that's of value to where we are trading, interchanging. It could be silver, it could be your car locally, it could be your car or your house, to where people are understand that your house is worth X and there's an asset to a loan. In other words, we're not going to see it in this, which I hope is very soon, in this that we have that can be manipulated by being printed as much as they want. I want an asset that if you lose your ass. You lose your house, you lose your car, you lose your gold or your silver, but it needs to be tied to something solid, not a digital dollar
yeah,
that can be printed up as much as they want.
people, oh,
You're
excuse me.
breaking up.
People really like this idea of something being sort of solid, to use your term. It's a mythical concept. At the end of the day, all this stuff is just made up accounting things. Multiple people have to agree that what's true is true. And if they agree that gold is true, cool. If they agree that Bitcoin is true, cool. Dollars, cool. Whatever, euros, it doesn't matter. And there's a difference between money and credit. And the commercial banks create create the credit. The central banks create the money, but they're both just created essentially out of thin air.
Well, Carmen, let's go this route then. You know, I own, and I don't, but I own millions of XRP. The value goes up. Now I become a bank. Now, state comes up and goes, Javier, want to buy this house, and I'm looking for a loan. Does that happen? Is the possibility of someone that invested early outside the system have the ability to go into a peer-to-peer exchange with someone else?
You're already seeing this. I mean, hell, I wrote this up 6 years ago with the How X-Pool thing, and you're seeing, you know, actions speak louder than words, right? Ripple is an entity that has a large inventory of XRP. Well, what do you do at this point if the market has developed enough? And I very much apologize for not speaking quite well. But of course, like, why not do the lend it out? And I mean, the whole line of credit. Oh goodness, the whole line of credit thing. That's the appropriate like action to take.
And I totally see that.
Inventory, then
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Well,
I mean, if you find a large inventory, you know, you want to deploy it. I mean, you have two options. You can either just sell it and now you don't have any more inventory. That's kind of stupid. Or you can lend it and then you earn some cash flow.
Sure, a yield.
And
there's a yield to it. And then there's a risk to reward. I understand isn't always an exact number of, in other words, there isn't 1 million coins. I understand the risk to reward where I can come in and go, let me earn some yield. And I know that I'm risking getting paid back. And this is the way it works. The problem, well, this bank starts giving yield without considering this bank, and we overprint. There has to be rules and regulations, not only for us, KYC, but there's got to be a KYC for the banking system, because if not, we are in the same boat that we were in before with cash that can be printed up, and there's certain control that cash. That's who controls the money. If not, like I said, it doesn't matter if the state comes up to me and he's willing to give me 10% on a loan, or I'm willing to give him charge him 10% for a loan on his house.
Crypto loans don't quite work that way. So if I want to take a loan,
and I'm just saying that out. Sure, I mean, I'm talking way out of my league, but
let's just keep it the same. So let's say that you want to operate as an intermediary and give me a loan based on my crypto, peer-to-peer, versus going to Caleb and Brown or whoever it may be, where you're given 50% on the amount declared. So let's say you throw up 100,000 XRP and you want to get a loan on that. Well, you get 50% based on that. So the same thing, whether it be peer-to-peer or through an intermediary, is what I would guess. But who wouldn't sign up for that? I mean, I know if of high net value, if I want to do that, you know, again, preferably through a smart contract, you know, to issue someone else a peer-to-peer loan in that manner. The problem is once you become an intermediary, other laws then apply to you. So
no, the big problem, because Jesus Christ, I thought about this for years. The big problem with crypto is if you go to try to do a loan, right? Like if I send you XRP or Bitcoin or whatever, and I apologize for my hiccups and what have you. But let's say I lend you 100 XRP. How do I do the enforcement ability? That's the word I've kind of made up. How do I enforce you paying me back? Right? What if I loan you 100 XRP and then you're like, hey, Karma, get stuffed, right?
That's
There
why
Now,
has to
that's
be
why I say
some kind of smart
within a smart contract, I would do such a thing, but otherwise, no, I would not. Then you're stuck. You're fucked.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Would be
sorry.
the first time people do that. But no, I understand. And that's where I'm trying to find out is where we start going into the word crypto is right, but into more of a crypto environment where there is value to certain coins, coins and tokens. Because put it this way, even though token is a tech, if there is value, then it's an asset, and there will be a financial worth to that asset. And I hope I'm getting all this. So it may not be a coin that could be used, but there's people that are willing to take that token to convert that into an asset and loan you whatever else you want, whether it's XRP or anything else. Value comes from whatever the tech, I guess. I don't know.
Well, what I
Somebody
was
help me.
trying to
Clint.
what I
all
was
it's
what I
all
was trying to lean towards was more the Nostro Vostro. So, say not you or I, not the small fry. Okay, not retail.
Okay.
I was thinking XRP on a grander scale, XLM more so for the retail, the peer to peer. But the XRP, where to derive value from, my question is let's say the United States wants to send through XRP $300 million to Ukraine. You know, but that for one input derives one output. So the $300 million in yields $300 million out into whichever other currency. Could be euro, lira,
why it's all
pound, peso, whatever. But
this
my
is
thing is one input yields one output. So what derives it value unless these other players involved, these other 350 financial institutions partnered with XRP and what have you, if they derive it at a value based upon 10,000 drops per XRP, then that I understand. But what I'm having issue with is money moving in and money moving out. What for whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other side. So then I'm stuck with listening to all of this hype bullshit that is all over the place on YouTube
this is
about 10,000 XRP, 50,000 XRP. It's like it's all nonsense at that point to me until it is declared a known value by decree.
this is what market makers do. It's not about the 300 in or the 300 out. It's about the interest or the arbitrage or the spread that that the market maker, liquidity provider, whatever you want to call that role, that's what they do, right?
Well,
And they make their
Karma.
money.
Right, but there's only a 5-second spread there, right?
Well, not only that, but once that becomes it, once we find out the price through the big boys, now what's stopping me and Clint from negotiating? Because according
Nothing.
to the big boys, that's this is set between whether it's nation state to nation state. We now know a price. Now, me and Clint, or me and Karma, or me and you, Dave, can now negotiate whether it a loan or whether it a transaction, a trade of value within each other, and avoid the whole damn system. Because now we know the reason I'm taking that as payment is because now I know the price of XRP. I mean,
Right, but
whether it be
I see it.
XRP or any other thing.
I see it as much more than a loan between peer to peer. I'm viewing this more as global money. I'm not seeing this not just. I'm not seeing XRP as between Dave and Javier. I'm seeing XRP as between Bank of Santander and HSBC. So
Well,
I'm
Karma,
seeing
so how
something
do
totally different.
could settlements be done in like under 3 to 5 seconds, and then the money's gone, and maybe you have to make the spread with that, or could they agree on the world states and say, well, I think we lost Karma, didn't we?
Oh
Did
shoot!
he just drop out?
He may have to come back.
I was
And
wondering. I was
he's
wondering
hurting.
about the spread that he could do. Just a sec, Javier. I was wondering about that spread too. Like, how long could they have that stay on chain in order to create more value out of that 300 in, 300 out? But I hope Karma comes back to address that, because I think that's the interesting question that we should delve into a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm coming late to the conversation, but my biggest, I guess, mental problem hurdle that I have to cross, maybe we should wait for him to come back, but I'll just throw it out there, that I have to cross with XRP. I get it, it's pretty much instantaneous settlement of XRP, but let's say, hey, I'm going to sell you my digibug or sell you an asset, and I'm going to send XRP, and then that XRP, okay, you got the message from XRP. It could be a fraction of an XRP. I mean, I don't know, unless you've got a dollar value on it. But I'm sending the message through XRP from my bank, and it says, hey, I'm selling my car, and notifying this other bank that receives that message on the XRP blockchain. Okay, well, how does that asset get there? How is it tied to that asset in any way? I don't have to deliver it. You're gonna have to come get it. I can, what I mean?
I kind of think that what I just popped into my head, how it could be solved, but this might be a little bit ludicrous in conjecture. But
that's all right. I'm into ludicrous. I mean, because we're trying to figure out the whole system here.
I see that.
So say that we'll have banking as a service, Dave. Say you'll own assets. Say you got a few zeros in crypto, and you made bank, and you're your own bank. But now you have to deal with mortgages and with pension funds and with insurance shit. You're not a bank. I mean, you could be a bank from a liquidity point of view, but and from a tech point of view, but you're not a bank. You don't know how to rate people or how to charge that. You don't know how to look at that angle from the system. So could you then stake, no pun intended, your capital with like a BlackRock, and they do offer a banking as a service,
or some custodian,
and they would do that for you.
Yeah.
And you get your paper Bitcoin in return, or your paper Litecoin, or your paper Digibyte or XRP or what have you not. And they would sort that issue for you. Is that where the liquidity will come from? Is that is the Nostro Vostro account not really accessible to us? I don't know, but it's just banking as a service.
And Dave, there was that other guy that you mentioned. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. That may want to come in right now. Seems to be hurting, dude. And you can just tell that he's there. But dude, there's a lot of fucking brilliant minds in XRP, and so I didn't know if that was even an option, or you could reach out to him. And if not,
I sent the link out to Shellfish. If she would like to join, please feel free.
Maybe she's in the chat.
Someone else.
Send her too.
Yeah, I guess the hardest thing, I can't get my head around this, and this is the issue. Okay. I can, banks can send XRP, or any payment system that's real time all day long, and the messaging gets there. It's like, hey, we're going to do this. This is what it's going to be. But what backs how do you back the asset with that? I mean, how do you take delivery? See, I don't have to do that with Bitcoin or Litecoin.
Here's the thing, Clint.
You got it. You've got the underlying asset.
Here's the thing, Clint. I think we got a little piece of the puzzle with Tether and Circle being fucked and PayPal entering the equation. And I think that the answer is there with what is going to be backed through PayPal, and through maybe Peter Thiel, that's seemed to get his hand in everything with Palantir. Like, what is the backing going to be? And then to Karma, before he left, he said, well, we don't know if it's Bitcoin or the dollar or gold.
I think we do.
Anything's cool.
I think we do, though,
And-
because like you said, PayPal's already, they have there was no qualms about those. Why are they listing those 4 coins on PayPal? What do they know?
I have a serious issue with PayPal.
No,
Have
I
you
agree,
read-
but
have you
why
read
are
the
they
Solidity
saying
code?
it's okay?
Have you read the code of Solidity?
No, I know.
I posted it all out there. It's
No,
like,
absolutely. That's your
Yeah.
CBDC light. I mean, right there. That's your taste of the
Oh, not
CBDC.
not
This
just
is the
that, but
beginning,
it's
guys.
4 years old, 4 or 5 years old. They've been planning this for a
Mhm.
long time because the code is written in the version 4.2, 4.4, and the actual Solidity right now is 8 somewhat. And it's 4 or 5 years old, and it's been done for 4 to 5 years. So they've been planning this shit
Right.
until
Libra didn't fly with
2018, 19.
Facebook. So let's
and
do
we're
it on
still under
PayPal with
the
a
impression.
different token.
And
Right.
we're still under the impression we're sticking to this almighty damn dollar that's worth of shit that they keep printing and sending all over the place. We need to understand how it's going to change into true value, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's
Well,
gold, silver, or
I think the
or,
value is
like
there.
I said,
I think,
wheat.
Javier, the value is there.
We just
Like,
don't
if
know
you've
how to
got like
value
a,
that.
but the value is there, but it's like, how is it backed?
How's
Like-
it back? Thank you.
The
Thank you.
value of the network's there and the communication framework is there, but what's backing that framework? I can have, like you said, Javier, I could have a bin full of wheat here. Okay.
Yeah.
Who is going to take possession of that? How do you transfer that value? I can do it through the messaging system and say,
I
hey,
think that's
you
what-
own this.
This is where
but we're the custodian that delivers that and makes sure that
well,
works.
there's a lot more
There-
there that we're not privy to just yet. So
Right.
there's a
well,
lot more there.
exactly.
Like say it's peer to peer, right? So peer to peer, you a bushel of corn on your back, whatever. That's we will be able to transact with the asset peer to peer, no issue. My thing is more the nostro vostro within XRP, not the peer to peer. The peer to
But I
peer
think we're
version
going-
of it, though, you will also be able to use an NFT as the claim check. That is the purpose of
Well-
NFTs, is to be used as a claim check.
Okay. So you
And
go
I
and
think
pick
that-
it. Somebody's
I
got to
think
go
we
pick
are-
it up then.
Whether it be your
we're
bushel of corn,
early,
whether
Clint.
it
Let
be-
me
whether it-
explain that
whether
in a
it be
minute.
your medication, whether it, no matter what that may be.
Let me explain this. We are looking to eliminate the middleman in some of these. Dude, the problem isn't the communication.
the central banks.
It's the it's the difficulty that they are making between the guy that has the grain and the baker. There is an opportunity. Smart contract becomes the middleman. Not anytime tomorrow or the next day.
No, that makes
But
total sense.
that's where we're heading
No.
to
No, I
where
get it.
we eliminate this guy that's got control and is shipping it to New York.
Right, and that guy that
They
you're
ship
shipping
it
it to
from
New
Illinois
York,
to New York, and then right
let's say-
next to you at go ahead.
Let's say that the guy in New York wants to accept Litecoin, but you have to pay in XRP, right? Well, that's the point of
Sure.
XRP, is to be an interoperable exchange. So no matter if you want lira, pound, dollar, doesn't matter what you want, or if you want XRP, Litecoin, Bitcoin,
Or another asset.
Digibyte, right? It does not matter. The interoperability is there for that. My thing is that I don't view XRP as between us common folk. Okay,
I think it's going to be one
peer
of
to
many.
peer. I view that peer to peer more of on the decentralized system, and this is more of a centralized system to work with the FedNow, with all
Right.
the other
Right.
different
It
entities.
just
that way.
maximizes efficiencies between the broken system right now and ties it all together. I get that. So what gives XRP its underlying value? I don't see it being $500 for one XRP because I don't
Unless
think the
it is
asset.
declared by decree. That's
Right.
the only thing I
Right,
can
because
figure.
I just don't see it standing alone. I see it standing as a technology that can maybe verify that, listen, Javier, you want to buy, a grain full of wheat. Okay, I got this wheat. Okay, cool. You're going to send me an XRP message, and now I'm on the hook because there's some sort of chain of custody there that's been claimed. And okay,
Yes,
now
thank you.
you got to figure out how to get it here, and the thing is,
Well,
I
it'll
still am
be on the
obligated
smart
to sell it
contract.
to you. You just got to come get it. You know, I'm obligated.
No, it
It's
should
just
be on
like-
the smart contract.
Right,
It's
but somebody's still got to
that's
pick
where
it
the
up.
smart
Somebody's got to
contract
take
comes in.
possession of it. How do you take
Yes,
possession
and
of
that
it?
let me explain this. I buy it from you at X amount, and within that, it's when you buy something on eBay, do you and not always, do you negotiate the price of the delivery? On most things, we don't. We don't know how it did it, but it just gets over to our place because they have to send it. And it's not going to be in that small a volume.
No, I get
I'm
it.
sure it's going to be bigger, but what I'm trying to get is it will be on the smart contract, and
Yeah.
until I take delivery, there
Right.
will not be a
I can't
change
sell it
of.
again. I can't sell it again.
You
Otherwise,
can't
I'm breaking
sell
the
it
law.
again.
Then there has to be an enforcement. So there has to be some centralized enforcement to make that happen. So, I mean, I get it. I get the whole, it's,
I believe
made a
Vertosium
deal.
had something to do with that. And,
yeah, I mean, we made a deal.
It's
on the books. We sent the message through XRP, but that in and of itself doesn't give XRP, I don't have to give you, you don't have to give me 100,000 XRP because that's the value in XRP of the grain that you bought.
Yes.
No, because otherwise, just pay me in Litecoin when you come get it.
Before we even get there, we need to find out what value is. Whether we got to find out, is it what? And I'm just giving numbers. So, is it 1 Litecoin or 30 XRPs or 350 digibytes or 0.00? It doesn't. We've got to find out what value is on everything. And so right now, we know nothing makes sense. The damn price of gas should be higher, should be low. Nothing makes sense. We don't understand what true value is. You said it before, Clint, when you go, what's water worth in the Mojave? Worth a fucking lot of goddamn money. Right. And so now we need to understand what true value is, because we have a group of people that have been setting value. How's that worked out for us in silver?
Right.
Terrible.
And so say we said it, Javier. Say you're like, hey man, all these people need water in that desert. He's got a case of water. I'm gonna buy that case of water, and then I'm gonna sell it to these other people. And so I'm like, okay, send me something. So you send me a message. Let's, for argument's sake, XRP message. Like a fraction of an XRP, because it doesn't take the whole one, because it's not valuing the water. It's just the messaging. Okay, so it gets there. It's out there in the ecosystem. All the governments, all the banks agree that, okay, this is a valid transaction. It got sent on the XRP anointed blockchain. I got it. You got it. It's there. All right, I owe you that water. You have possession of that water at that point. And so you can go sell it again, and message, okay, that gets a bottle. Smart contract takes care of it all. But at some level, there's got to be a delivery enforcement. How do you do that? I mean, I'm just giving you my word, essentially. And so the law has to come in and make that happen. If I say, nah, you know what, I'm walking out of here with that water. F you. How does the messaging system fix it?
Well, let me say, by the way, we got some questions coming up. Litecoin Lisa's asking some important questions. I see Amex. I see the partnerships with Ripple. I see Ripple partnerships announced today.
Yeah,
with
sadly, Lisa.
And so, go on, State.
Let's address the question. Like, sadly, Karma left. But what I'm gonna do is I speak to him almost regularly on the daily, Lisa. So what I will do, as I'm in a lot of spaces with the XRP community, I'll relay that question there, and I'll get back to you on Twitter, and I'll tag you into it, Lisa. So I'll
wait, State.
I'll give the answer. I'll give the answer to Javier, and he'll be DMing you. He's so enthusiastic.
No, don't do that. She'll never get it. But
you can DM her. Just fine, Javier. No worries. Don't worry.
No. I want to be one of the ones that receives some of these questions, because that's what, dude. I'm truly trying to find out more information.
Javier, for sure I'll be sharing it. But I think it's a great question by Lisa, and there's a lot of movement here with XRP.
There was some
and with
more.
Ripple.
Yeah,
sure.
Some of y'all fast readers, there were some more questions that she
Oh,
had
I
asked.
didn't see that. I didn't see that. Could anyone,
Don't
Dave? Could you
don't
open the
make me
chat,
constantly.
or can you open the
Yeah,
chat, or someone else? I'm on mobile. It's a bit difficult for me, but maybe we can address some questions there. Let's see. Conspiracy. Maybe the SEC versus Ripple XRP settlement was part of the plan and a signal to give PayPal a go to steal dollars from the normies. Yeah, well, true, but if
maybe,
you, it's not
maybe.
really, it's not. We like to call ourselves coincidence theorists. So let's start there. It's just happy coincidences. And I stopped caring about what people think of me, whether I'm nuts or not, a long time ago. I just stick with facts. I just think that the XRP settlement by itself is might be tied into PayPal, might not be, but I think there's a red wire between all the court cases that the SEC did to create a legal framework in the US, which is almost the same as the EU. So from that perspective, I say, yeah, the PayPal is part of the stablecoin narrative, and it's coming out of the shadows right now, and they've had this shit ready for 4 to 5 years, so they've been planning at least 4 to 5 years ahead with telling PayPal. So they've been planning this move, or the grand plan of it, even further down the road. And then you get to pre-2017 levels, which kind of makes sense for those in the know, that everything after 2013, at the start of 2014, start to blow up in this space with all sorts of players. So yeah, I think that that's true, but I don't think if it's to steal dollars from the normies, I think that they're already stealing dollars. They'll never stop stealing dollars. They'll steal euros too. And you posted the announcement on Twitter. Yeah, great. I'll do that, Lisa. Great. So yeah, do I think that PayPal is going to steal from the normies? Sure, but I think everything is stealing from the normies. I mean, we've seen a wealth inequality gap grow wider and wider over decades, but that's the grand macro. So are they going to stop? No, I don't
Yeah,
think so.
and I think that we're still
Cheers.
early in the game, and I personally think that it could go in different ways right now, and they're which way it's going for them to either release it at the time that they want to, advantageous to them, not to us, to them. And so here's where I'm saying I'm trying to play the game. What game do we want to play? And I think that there's too much interest in XRP, and I don't mean XRP, they'll just to slow this one down. We've seen this too many damn times. Hell, we on the day Mimblewimble came out, Elon Musk said Dogecoin, and the attention went to Dogecoin. Someone has that kind of control.
Sure.
So I'm seeing
it's not so much about control. It's about, I think, that many players are playing the market. Elon is no stranger to that. And I think he has a big share in the whole thing as well. I mean, he's a wealthy guy, let's be honest. He owns a few companies. It's not like it's a nobody. He can pull some strings with Doge. And maybe Doge becomes a currency for his XAI or X Twitter platform. Could be. It's not too far-fetched, I think. And that's the game he's playing. And then you got the whole mining pool connected with LTC, of course. So I get that somehow that's tied into it. It's just
we go back into community state. We go into the community. Well, the community is what's going to give the value to the coin. If Blind Dave opens up and he's got his own coin, well, who else does he know? Where's the community? How big is his community before I start getting into it? Now, if it's Walmart and you're giving me a 15% discount, will I go buy your coin? Yes, but there's going to have to be a time where the Walmart coin is, and I'm going to go to dollars, but I don't want to, or it's worth 0.01 Satoshi, XRP is worth 0.0, Litecoin's worth 0.1 Satoshi. We have to come into a understanding of where value is going. I think I may have said it.
Oh,
right.
no, we get it.
Maybe
so
you'll
what
just
gives
play
the
with it.
What gives the XRP token or coin value? I mean, yeah, it's got a use case, but
well, according to Karma, it's liquidity, a deep liquidity pool. And before he cut out, he said, market makers are going to make a spread out of.
Right, I get it. So it's basically the same thing. More value out of that. I mean, I mean, unless we're going to revalue all the world's money that's out there in circulation in XRP, then we can say, okay, there's
But
$1 quadrillion.
Well, Clint, let
out
me
there.
wait, Javier. Clint, I think it's a gradual process.
Right.
So
yeah,
I think we're not going to go from 0 to 100 in one second. I think we're gradually going to hook up onto a new system. So there'll still be a use case for that because the old system won't be immediately ready to go to the new system. There's still being shit played out so the big players don't lose their control, and they do this
and we're seeing
step
it.
by step. I think
We
that's
see
what we're seeing. So
we're
to your
seeing.
question, Javier, I think if you walk into a Walmart, you will probably still pay in $1. Or if I would walk into the equivalent here in Europe, I'll pay in €1. But when you come to the
Why?
cash register, you'll probably wait. When you get to the cash register, you have to pay. You'll probably be able to transfer that dollar just as quickly through whatever wallet or currency you'll own if you don't have any dollars in your pocket, but you might have Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte, or Veritasium, or XRP in your wallet, doesn't matter. That's what you will pay with, and it transfers to $1 to Walmart. So for the normal people, nothing will change. Look, the dollar value everywhere will stay, like the symbol of the dollar will stay. Just overnight, when they download their banking app and they're going to a digital dollar on the back end, because the normies won't understand this, but they will wake up in the day that they have to, in order to access their bank account, update their app and do a know your customer on their banking app. And what they don't know is that they lost 25% of their purchasing power. I mean, that's going to happen overnight.
Well,
The euro is going to lose even more. Like, it's just you're
let me
gonna
give you a
be
small
fucking
example.
poor overnight. That's what I think is
Yeah,
going
but
to
let me
happen.
give you an example why I don't agree with you right there. Right now, you
Oh,
go to
luckily.
Walmart, you you go to Walmart and you go and get a card, and now you're getting 10% discount at the gas station on their gas station.
Sure, because
I've
they
been
got your
there. I've
data.
been there with Sam's because they do. I'm not wrong or otherwise. I know a lot of people that are doing that right now because
Yeah, but
there is
Javier,
value to
that's a
that.
different angle. No, that's a
Right.
different
I
angle.
don't.
What you're explaining is a card or a register with a company that in order for them to give you a discount, you give them your behavioral buying data. So you're basically saying,
Well,
okay,
what's
I'll get 10%, but for 10%, you'll be able to see what I do. And that data, they use that to suppress even more money out of the average. So for you, you might get 10%, but they'll get 12 or 15% from the entire community
Right,
because
but
they know the behavior. So that's
I
the
don't.
business model behind cards like that. It's different than what we're talking about now with liquidity or how stable
Correct.
coins are being backed.
Correct. That's totally
what what
different
it,
than XRP. If you want to use Doge as a rewards card for bed bath and beyond, so be it. Whatever it may be. That I can agree to with Doge, but like through XRP, no comparison.
okay? And like I said, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at, and I'm trying to understand. Clint and I one day in a space we had this discussion to where as Clint coin is backed by Mimblewimble or Litecoin. He has it. He has a gathering at his house. He has a whole carnival, and he's selling Clint coins, and I'm buying Clint coins because the value is there, and I get more
But
value
That's an
from a
NFT.
Clint coin.
That's an
Uh,
Javier,
NFT.
is it a
it's
stable
not
Clint
stable.
that's backed by silver and by cigars?
No, it's going
No,
to be black.
it's backed by energy. It's backed
by
by
a
the
Litecoin.
experience. You go to a
It's,
carnival and you got to buy tickets to the carnival, or otherwise you can't ride the ride. It's the same kind of
and you
concept.
get more.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
you
just
get,
fucking
and that's
around.
what I'm.
I would like a Digi Dave coin too.
Yeah.
Well, you could have it.
You can
And
have
at
lunch
this
with Dave.
point,
Otherwise, you're not going to get lunch with Dave.
as long as you
Yeah,
give something
Xavier
value.
Facian.
Yeah.
Sure.
As long as you give something value, he has that coin. He's accepting it. He's trading it out. And I don't know how this shit works, but we had that discussion with Litecoin. Now we're buying drinks at Clint's through the Clint coin, which is basically that coin. And I
Which is
believe there was
basically an
something like
NFT.
that.
That's an
Maybe.
NFT. You're using an NFT as the claim check. That's correct.
Let me ask
Pretty
you
much.
this: was that
Pretty much.
what's
An
NFT
address.
supposed to be used for? Yeah, maybe that's what it's supposed to be used for. So here's an advantage for Walmart. You go in and you load up, so you get 5% if you get a Walmart card, points, you get at 1,000 you get 15%, and at 5,000 you get 25%. You know you're going to shop at Walmart. You know you're going to use it.
Maybe,
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use
but maybe.
it? Well,
But
there's people that
how's
use
that any
coupons.
different? How is that any different than what we have right now?
It would have to be the stable coins that are out there. And how are we going to
Right.
measure?
So
Because I'm going
Javier,
to
maybe the answer is not what is it backed by, but more like maybe it's backed by everything. XRP is the node. It's
backed by
digital
everything.
currency, instant conversion to pick your paper, right? Well,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I guess everything is like that. What XRP is focusing on is mostly cross-border payment, interledger protocol, and has a bunch of through Ripple has a bunch of contracts with several banks around the world. When the supply is needed in the billions,
it's going to be there. And I'm still trying to understand it, Steak. I just know that further on,
well, what part?
the value has to be given for, and I don't know how far, but when we
the price
know
at
that we are
market
playing,
maker will be balanced, possibly.
let me, yes, when we don't have a
Yeah, we got
fiat
some questions
currency
from the
that's being
community,
printed.
Javier. Yeah.
Go for it, read it.
Oh yeah, we imagine rather than a debt-based economy, we switch to a cash-based economy, meaning a non-government issued coin with a fixed supply, whereby every transaction has a small fee that shrinks the supply.
It will be an
Maybe,
asset.
or maybe no.
An
We have a
asset-based.
stakeholder. We'll have a stakeholder economy, just like the World Economic Forum wants. So it won't. The most people won't own anything. We will probably be people that actually own assets or commodities, but most people won't, and you just be selling services or buying services. Stakeholder capitalism. You have a stake in things, but only if you have money. So yeah, maybe you
Well,
can
how does
call it
that work?
cash-based. How does
So
that
an
work?
asset
Very
still
simple.
has, I mean,
You're
the
your own
asset still
bank.
has to back it up.
We
Right,
we
exactly.
are the very few.
You have the assets. And so how do you transfer
Well,
those assets?
The only thing that I think
for
can
us,
bank
it's
it up is
okay.
either a rule.
For
The only thing that can
90%
back
of
it
the
up.
people that are after our asses, it's not a very good thing, and they're going. They don't understand
No.
that we got in
Wait.
fair and square.
That's not the question. Like the only thing that can back it up is either a rule by decree that can back it up. That's basically a gun. That's a tank. That's a rule by decree.
Right.
It's a gun that says this is what you're going to do. You're going to comply. This is what the state wants you to do. It's no different than what we have now.
Mhm.
Or it's actually a commodity where we can say, well, we have a mining system that's backing it up. And
Right.
I think it's probably going to be a mix of both, because the
Right.
system is not gonna change overnight. It's whole social economics that changes overnight. It's impossible to do that. It's every aspect of society that's tied to finance, which is basically everything in society. It's not going to go overnight. But the grand things, the cornerstones, are moving now, and that's the business we're in. So I think that different blockchains will go to different aspects, different elements of society. And it's if XRP or FedNow gets a law by decree and they say, well, we're going to do that interoperability through XRP, all the banks agree with it, like this is the ISO 2022 standard, we're going to use this protocol, then that's what they're going to do. And that's what it's going to be
leads
backed
to
by.
another question. How do we know that they are going to use XRP?
Right. Why not invent
don't.
your own? Why not you have your own CBDC? Why would you outsource it?
Intellectual property, because David
Okay.
Schwartz and Ripple own some actual intellectual property on how that
Okay.
consensus mechanism works. So
That makes sense. Then.
and maybe it doesn't cover the whole equation. Maybe some people that forked it got a bit of the IP too. Could be. Haven't looked into it that much, but I think at the end of the day, and I've talked at length with Dave about this, I think the whole intellectual property angle is completely overlooked in many parts of crypto, and I think it's going to be much more prominent than we think than we already think it is.
Sure.
And that's going to play out when the market matures and when the market gets its framework set in regulation and legislation. That's going to be part of it. That's what we're seeing right now. So we're seeing the stable coins moving because that's one of the first things that has to comply in March, April next year. We're seeing the intellectual property that's probably going to be handled either between now and then, or at least the latest, and that's probably
So,
my bet, the latest going to
so,
be with the exchanges in September, October next year. I think that's when everything's gonna
so
happen.
via the MICA regulations, by March, they will have to be 1-to-1
Yeah,
backed. Otherwise, they
yeah.
will not be able to exist.
And Circle is fucked because they've basically been priced out with Tether on Binance. They won't be able to make their 100% backing unless something magical happens. So why else do you think PayPal enters the race right now? Because there is no really good stable coin in the dollar or the euro right now, and it's a grand market with digital stablecoin. So yeah,
Well, with PayPal, I have an issue with PayPal on the side, other than the Solidity code that I read and highlighted for everyone to see. Of what they're doing, like the truckers in Canada, right?
Right.
So
they can take your assets. They can take your assets whenever they want.
exactly. It's in
Right.
the code. Yeah, it's in the code.
So
And
what's to stop them from doing that if we use an XRP ledger then? If the government's the one anointing it?
Different aspects of finance. If XRP is the interoperable cross border, and PayPal is your internal stablecoin for the U.S. market, then that's a different piece of the pie.
So basically,
sounds like I
all
need
governments are going to have to agree. All banks are going to have to agree. And when you participate
kinda
in
already
that
do.
system, when you participate in that system through those particular banks, you're saying this is how I'm going to transact, and I play ball by those rules.
I'll tell you one thing,
Clint,
Clint. Do you know where? I'll ask you one question. Do you know where digital identity comes from? Do you know where it originated?
Educate me.
United Nations.
wow.
They came
You
up
know
with
what,
it, and you
Clint?
know why? You know why they did that?
No.
Because
Go
immigration
ahead.
is a very big issue with people on the move, especially in Africa, to the Middle East and Europe, that if they are not accepted in one country, they go to another country. And if you have a digital
Hey,
identity, you earmark people the first
Yeah, then
time, and
it
then when
doesn't
they go
matter
to
where
another,
you're at.
yeah, because they know who
Yeah.
you are. They
Hey,
already
right.
know that you went to one
Right.
country or the other country. They already know that you applied. So
Mhm.
that's what they want to tackle. But eventually, that digital identity is necessary from a know your customer point of view for finance. So
Right.
if you when you
so
ask like who's
what
going to decide? Wait, Javier, give me a second. When you say,
sorry.
well, okay, who's gonna follow it? Like, where does this rule from decree comes from? It's not even the United States. It's not even the G7. It's the United Nations. There's like a shitload of countries involved in this. Like it's most of the world. Most of the world agrees that it's a good thing that people have a digital passport. Like it's the thing that Russia and China can agree upon as well. Like it's a red wire between BRICS and whatever currency we'll have in the West. I mean, they all, for different reasons, but they all want a digital identity. So sorry, Javier, but I think this is
No,
relevant
bro.
to
No.
understanding where it comes
You're.
from and what
No,
drives it.
no. You know what? And whether we like it or not, and what I was going to say to Clint, you got thigh waders on, and you're in fishing. You're going to need chest high waders. Get deep. And that's what it is. It doesn't matter whether we like it or not, or whether it's fair or not, or whether we're going into this. It sounds
Thanks,
to
Lisa.
me we're going into we're going into the system whether we like it or not. And can it change further on down the line? Yeah, I think they're starting to see things change. Things that didn't make sense, coins that didn't make sense are starting to make sense. There are new players coming in, whether it's all fixed or not, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have to play by whatever rules they set. like it or
No,
not.
no, I
mean,
get it because, they're all going to be aligned and they all want to be able to transact fluidly. And if XRP is that thing that they all agree on and, hey, that's the overriding system that we're going to use, okay, that's what it is. I guess my thing is, how does that, all right, I see where the value is to that in the transaction and making it happen. But unless, the government comes in, all the governments agree and say, hey, we're going to revalue it all, and each XRP is now absorbing all the assets on the planet, you're not going to see $1 million XRP or a 589 XRP or,
let me just say one thing.
I don't see that happening because all it's doing is allowing you to transfer the asset legitimately. Like we do now, like you're saying, you're on eBay and you buy something and it's like, hey, you committed to this.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to send the money. Otherwise you're going to get bad social credit score, bad feedback kind of thing.
Maybe it's allowed to be backed by any commodity.
So that makes it the new dollar standard then, right? I mean, everything's based on XRP at that point. You know what I mean? Is that I'm trying to figure out where that goes.
I kind of see your point, but
where does that go?
Well,
there
where
are a
does
lot of
that
people
go?
that say it's going to go to $1,000. It's going to go this and that.
Price. I was more looking at it from the angle like where will it go from the aspect of the fact that where is the actual true value in the economy? Like, we don't know because the system's been fucked around with on every angle and every price has been, there is no fucking price discovery. But what we do know is that Bitcoin creates price discovery.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to sound like a Bitcoin maximalist, but I call it a clock. I call Bitcoin a clock. I like the analogy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that ultimately, and no pun intended, I think it's going to be a stable coin that's going to increase in value, and it's going to be the accumulation of everything digital that people make value to and subscribe to Bitcoin. Like, it's going to go up. It's not going to, because the initial amount of money is going to go up. We're going to keep printing, so the store of value will go up in price as well, but at some point it's not going to go up as much as it is right now due to the halving, but also due to the fact that the entire greed is out of the system. It's not really possible to print that much shit anymore, which also raises the conundrum of how do we deal with pensions, taxes, and public spending. And we haven't really touched into that yet, but that's completely going to change because in the EU they want to at some point abolish income tax and just pay VAT. So we could see that happening in the US as well. That would be a nice welcoming message if you would have a presidential. If you have a presidential candidate, can you imagine Jamie Dimon runs for president because JP Morgan, something happens there, and he goes away and he becomes president and he says, yeah, I'm gonna get income tax abolished. Do you know how popular that guy will be? Do you know how popular that guy will be?
He will be very popular, but it only works. It only works
if the rest
when
is
you have a Ponzi. If you have a Ponzi scheme, like our dollar, which is just a derivative of there's nothing backing it. That's the only way that works. You can't.
No, Javier, there is something backing it. There is something backing it, and it's a gun.
Well, yeah.
Well, ultimately,
I know it's a bit. I know it's a bit dark, but that's how the world works.
Ultimately,
it is. But we are a small portion of the population of the world, and we can get cock-blocked also. No, we are. The United States is only 300 million. We have a lot of money is because we print a lot of money. When the rest of the world decides that we don't want to do that,
Javier, you can't say that the U.S. is you can't say that the U.S. is a small player.
Let me explain it. No, not that it's a small player. It's a small population of the world. It's a small population of the world. Let me ask you this. So when we're paying, again, $25 an hour for labor, for a hamburger flipper. Wait. Who's going to build those computer chips? How do we get ahead? The rest of the world
Let me answer your
negotiated what they're working on. We are overpriced. We go down. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Which country for the past 70 years has been able to fund about 120 wars around the world?
The same country that has been manipulating the world currency.
Right. So
And
let's
what
not
is
act as if the U.S. is a small player, please. I mean,
It's not by no,
and
I'm not asking. I said small population. There's only
and
it's
what is the
330
irrelevant.
million
difference?
of us.
What is the
No, it's
difference if
not
they're making?
irrelevant. The only no, we are not the. Put it this way. Let me ask you a simple question, Steak. Who was the last guy that paid out outside of the dollar for gas? That was Gaddafi. And we know what happened to them. Has anybody
Oil.
paid outside the dollar for gas for oil?
Yeah, Saddam
Yes,
Hussein
right
did
now
it too.
Russia's paying. So we're not going after any. Why? Because I don't think that we are as strong, and I believe that the chips that other countries have made can control a lot of the stuff that's
So
going on here because we
let me
were
tell you one
weak
thing.
at
Let me
giving
tell
all
you
that
one thing,
out.
Javier. Let's talk a little bit
Hmm.
geopolitics. Sure, I follow that too.
I
So
love
you
it.
got the petro you want, right? You got China buying oil for Chinese money. Great, great. So now we got Ukraine grain being fucked. We got granaries of wheat and grain being fucked. So Niger, who imports 100% of the grain, suddenly has a coup against his president and says, fuck the US, fuck France. And they supply France
Mhm.
with uranium. So now we got the Russian military mercenaries operative in Niger, and the
Mhm.
United Nations has been stationed in Oman and Chad and Sudan, which is next to it, for 2 years. And then next to that is Zanzibar, who last week said,
Mhm.
well, we want to become the import port of Africa for all digital assets and commodities, backed by the US, which is right across from ding, 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 ding. If you go through the Suez and after the Horn of Africa, you go towards Zanzibar. So,
Mhm.
the gang goes to war in Africa. That's what we're gonna do. We're
Well,
gonna fuck shit up
I
in this. And
believe.
here's what's gonna happen. No, Javier, give me a second. Here's what's gonna happen because I've
Okay.
been saying this for 2 years too. Did you know that Egypt is building a new capital 2 years ago? And they're building it to the southeast of Cairo, and it's the
Mhm.
biggest military camp in the history of humanity that's being built there.
Mhm.
It's fucking
I didn't know that.
huge. Like it, no, you can look it up on YouTube. It's fucking ridiculous. Why the fuck would you build a military encampment there that big? Very simple. Once water shortages are there because Africa is still having a very increased birth rates. And this is actually in the report from the United Nations that instigated a digital identity. This is tied to that report. They fear that in 2040 they'll have 1 billion African migrants. And where are they going to go to? They're going to go to the water and they're going to go to the money. So if we fuck up the region first, here's the beauty. They'll all go south. And those countries south that will have issues with that migration happening, they're actually the ones selling the cobalt and the copper. So yeah, that's the game that's being played by the US. You're just being pressured with a knife on your throat. Do you think the US will be capable of doing that? They'll fuck shit up there. And that's a
They
sad state
will.
of the world. So you're either going to comply or not. The US isn't playing
I
nice. Like, so I think next week or maybe
well,
next month, we'll have a
but
war in Niger. We'll have a war there. We'll
I
just,
want to.
and it's a coup,
It's.
right? So, you're doing a great thing.
I'm not saying one way or another. I'm not saying that I control or my wishes control it, but I do know this: that Nigeria seems to be favoring the BRICS nations. I know that South America all seems to be uh, favoring the BRICS nations. And once you start coming up and going all of South, that's from Mexico down, and we start looking at it from that point of view,
Javier,
then you're
Javier,
going, they've got all
Javier,
the oil, they've got plenty of.
the oil in Nigeria is being refined by Shell. And they've been coming in the news for a long time because of all sorts of fuckery with the climate there and all sorts of corruption and bad politicians and what have you not to deal with the environmental crisis. But Shell is the one making the drills there. So the actual asset that gives them money, oil, is being drilled by a Dutch British company that is very tied to the monarchy and to US shareholders as well. So I'm not really worried about Nigeria, to be honest, at all. At all.
Well, and what I wanted to
Well,
rebuttal back with to Javier's point, say in the United States, minimum wage is $15 an hour. The person in India, wherever around the globe, is making $15 a day. Well, what changes though when hyperinflation comes into effect? Because the velocity of money has not yet hit yet of the 7 trillion. So whereas when someone in the US is making 15, what's the difference when in the US now minimum wage is $30 an hour? And the person in India is making $30 a day. Nothing really changed. Nothing
Well,
really changed other
what
than the
changed,
velocity
Dave?
of
No, no,
money.
no. You're not. I disagree. A lot changes because the entire system changes. So if your country doesn't have the infrastructure to deal with it, you won't be able to have. You won't be able to have a social economical model regionally that protects your citizens and stabilizes your economy.
My
So
argument is
any
it was the same bullshit 30 years
I have
ago.
a big argument too. And back to the Nigeria thing, what happened in Venezuela? That oil used to come to us. It doesn't come to us anymore. It goes to Russia. Why?
Because of the trade
And don't tell
embargoes,
me,
because of
well,
NAFTA.
because we came in and what was going on there, our contract ran out Venezuela. We tried to strong
Correct.
arm them and say, you're going to come back and you're going to go and renegotiate. They said no. We said we'll take our oil wells, our oil heads out, and then Russia says, don't worry, we'll back your ass up.
But
So
it's
how
Iran and
strong are
Russia.
we, Steak? Yeah, Iran. All I know, that's the what's the whatever nation? All those Saudi 7-Eleven
OPEC,
is part of it.
OPEC.
OPEC. It's the OPEC nations, and so OPEC decided to back their asses up, and so Steak. We tried to fight that. We tried to put our own president inside of Venezuela. It didn't fucking work. It did. As long is our military, and that's just a question to you because sometimes maybe you don't see some of the things, and we don't see it here.
Well, that
Most
that's
that
that's
didn't come
why
out in the news.
that's why we
You would have
see
to know
that
international news to know that.
what's about to happen in the U.S. is exactly what's going on in Argentina, and for the exact same reasons. And that's the problem
Well,
of which we're trying to solve within crypto.
and what do you think they're going to do? They're going to run it.
I honestly I'm of the perspective, and I know I'm not an American citizen, but I'm of the perspective that the US knows very well what it's been doing. I'm of the perspective that
I agree.
many of the wars that have been fought around the world have been fought with a certain goal in mind that ties it all together. There's an agenda at play there
Sure,
to set the US up with the best
sure.
possible position after the legacy system moves from old to new, after the debt cycle resets. They've been seeing that coming for a long time, ever since the end of the Second World War. With the Marshall Plan, it's the end of the Marshall Plan. They've figured this out before they implemented it.
They
There's
figured this
intelligence
out
behind
during
it.
the last Bretton Woods.
I think since the
They
first
could
Bretton
have.
Woods, even. I mean, why else would you have a Korea War? It was a lot
Sure.
sooner than Bretton Woods too. So it's just I
It
it's not
could be a
really that
game. Yeah. And
it's
I
not
and I
really
hope
a game. It's more like military strategy, and I
it
think
could
that
be.
and ultimately here's their conundrum for world leaders. If you want more world peace and humanity to move forward, but you can't really do it with everyone apologizing altogether and then surrendering to one another and move towards that, then what are you going to do? You're
Let me
just
ask
going to
you.
keep playing the game with game theory against one
No,
another,
no.
right?
Let me. How likely? And I don't know the answer to this. How likely is it that corporate takes over and we get rid of all our
It
leaders?
already taken over. But who owns
That's
corporate?
what I think.
What
Who owns
families, what
corporate?
royalty owns corporate? So are we going back to
Same
from
fucking
oligarchy
players.
to feudalism? Same fucking
Yeah.
players. Yeah, sure.
And then they're going to come up and go, look, only the rich people pay here in the United States. And Clint could probably tell you the date. Clint, but where they go, only the rich will pay tax. And then
I agree,
they,
Otto.
only so and so gets Bitcoin. We all agree. We all do really well. And then our worthless heirs destroy her foot because that's the traditional way of things happening in the future, and they go through all the
Look,
fortunes,
the
and it
only
gets
thing that
blended
I'm
again.
seeing, Javier, the only thing I'm seeing is that if you look at the current state of affairs in the world, short term, okay, let's think short term,
Mm-hmm.
where some parts of the world say we don't really want to buy U.S. debt anymore. I mean, that's relevant right now. So
Yes.
that means that eventually your dollar, you get de-dollarization, you get less dollars in supply and in circulation, relatively to the world. So what does that do to the US? You either go on steroids or you say, well, my eternal market has to innovate and has to get
Let me
more
ask you
money
this,
in order
Dave.
to move forward. So
How can that be
you're gonna
possible? How can
so
it be
what?
possible that we get less money when we're printing as much money as you want
Relatively,
and
Javier,
sending it out?
Javier, if you have
Okay.
8 trillion people buying your shit or 4 trillion people buying your shit, then you get half, relatively. Relatively. So it's not from inflating it from 10 trillion to 20 to 100 trillion or quadrillion or wherever the fuck we're going to go in my lifetime. But
Well,
it's
right now there's this huge hockey puck. Okay, and that hockey stick is
yeah,
the constant printing of money, because for every dollar there is 6%
yes.
interest on every dollar created. So there comes a certain point where critical mass hits an immovable object,
Well,
and
let me
it
touch
won't
on
be
that. Let
printed.
me touch on that. Don't you think the ludicrousy online with the conspiracy theories is amping up? I mean, we've
Yes.
seen some shit. We've seen UFOs, and now
Yes.
we see that the United States is a
It's a
corporation and everything
distraction.
is bought by royalty. I mean, people are being thrown from left to right with narratives because nothing seems to stick. These people are really desperate because they know the system's breaking, but the bread and games isn't keeping up with the media circus to keep people asleep. So
What's
more and
the
more
other
people are
hand doing?
waking up with the inflation. And you know, the actual issue at hand is how is the old system moving to the new system with the same players keeping control? And the answer to that question is that some old families that control a bit of the market will not have the same share of the market or any at all after this all plays out because they just, you know, the music stopped and there's no chair. They were the first to fumble. They weren't paying attention. And
Well,
maybe their great granddaddy
that's
did
where
something
I
cool.
agree. That's where I agree with like Bitcoin Ben, where he says that crypto eats fiat, and I agree with that. So the value of crypto will go up, but what is the dollar worth?
Yeah,
We
of
don't
course,
know.
Bitcoin needs fiat. I mean, and then you get all sorts of people commenting on it that don't really get it, or you find out later that they did it on purpose for 5 years and they really get it. But it's just that's why we see BlackRock in Bitcoin, right? I mean, it's not a small player. We got the spot ETF probably coming through in 4 to 6 months. That's what it looks like, and that will be co-aligning with that's some insider knowledge that I gained, but that's going to
No,
co-align
you know what's
with the regulation of stable coins. So I think that if just for the people watching, like serious message. We're in 11th of August right now, where I'm at. So it's just past midnight, 10th of August for you guys. You have until April, March next year to get into cold storage. And you have until
yeah.
March, April next year, and probably even less to get into cold storage because that's when probably the exchanges will tank. So my honest advice is get the fuck out of exchanges if you
Yeah.
haven't yet. And
Good words. Good words
no,
of advice,
seriously,
Dave.
I think that this is the we've been saying it for a long time, right? From like the point of, not your coins, not your crypto, because it was a philosophy that
Yes.
we want to stick. But this is not a philosophy. This is the finish line. This is the gunshot that if you're
This is
not
the
part of it,
timeline. This
yeah,
is the
you're
timeline where either you owned it or you did not.
also, but it's also the fact that Clint, you're on mute, by the way. I see your mouth moving, but you wanted to say something.
No, but yeah, good call. I'm good at that. Mouth just keeps moving and nothing comes out. So we've had plenty of warning signs though.
Are you married?
Yeah, exactly. You called it. So we've had all the warnings, with all the exchanges, hey, put your coins in here, it's going to be fine. Put your coins in here, you'll make a yield. And what always happens? No, you lose your coins. And so it's very important. That's a very important message, one that I preach all the time. Have the asset in your possession. And, to go back to real quick here.
Please explain that. Please explain that, Clint, better, because people just think that it's Coinbase.
Right.
That
they
it's
think
Gemini,
they have it because they bought it,
no,
but they don't have it.
Yes. If you're earning yield, just understand that it's more
Happy
than
birthday,
just
Tom.
these first, we just think of, if you don't have keys, you are about to lose your damn coin.
Oh yeah, I mean, because they've taken it, and we've seen it time and time again, and that's part of the narrative to where crypto is bad. It's dangerous. Well, it's dangerous if you give it to somebody else to hold. So that's why it's important to have it in your own wallet. Make sure you've got it when you put it on an exchange, when you put it in a bank, when you put it on PayPal. You can withdraw it from PayPal. I would suggest doing that just because you bought it there and used money to do that, and it shows it on the screen doesn't necessarily mean that you can take it out.
Exactly.
You can right now, but at some point you might not be able to. So it's best to
or spend it.
Only put in what you're going to use to spend, and then the rest of it, hold it. It's just like cash. Do you want to leave it sitting in the bank that can go under and it might not get bailed out, or would you rather have it in your possession?
That's even worse than cash.
Yeah, it is, because just like that, flip of a switch, right, Dave? I mean, you see that stable coin. I mean, it's right in the code. They can shut it off and terminate it and wash it. Gone. Burn it. I mean, they can be gone. It's digital. It's easy.
Now, well, if you look at the court case versus library, the jurisprudence there basically says that if an exchange goes tits up and they default, they for some countries, including the European Union and the Netherlands, if it's registered with it, probably is with the European Central Bank, you, as a customer, as a retailer, you get reimbursed up to 100,000 euros in fiat, but your actual asset is owned by the exchange. So if you get an exchange that's illiquid and it's going to default, and we've seen this happen in our space, and it's going to happen a fuck ton more, because Binance is going to get fucked out of the space, I think, at some point. And I think that when Tether and Circle are done playing and are going to default and crash, it's going to take a lot of exchanges with them, and then it's just going to be dominoes all over the place. And if that happens, we'll actually get price discovery, but it also means that when those exchanges go blank, you'll not have your asset, because you'll get reimbursed in fiat, but they'll be holding your coins. And then those exchanges with the coins are going to be bought up by, for example, a BlackRock or a Berkshire Hathaway or a Vanguard or what have you not, and they'll buy portions of it. Yeah, and they'll own your actual asset, and then the market's going to go up because the ETF and everything is approved, and you won't have shit. Yeah, you will have 100K maybe, and maybe that's a lot to your position right now, but relatively to what this space could become, it's probably not the amount of money that you want to wish for at the end of the day, and it's just a sad state. So if you want to go out there, I would say look up videos for cold storage, look up videos for what hardware wallets.
Ledger
has for example, Koinomi is a great desktop wallet. I just want to give a shout out there. You got Nunchuk, which is pretty cool too. Got people saying Samurai. It's things to look into that I think you wanna delve into. And if you thought, I got some time, I still need to look at it, my honest opinion would be stop watching YouTube videos or Telegram or Twitter. Do this right now. Just do this. Get this.
Well, and here let me see if Clint or any of y'all can answer
Ryan.
this. Understand that if there's a yield, there is a reward. And
there's a risk
I know
too.
wallets that, there are wallets that you have seed phrases to, is there any risk to you losing your wallets within those wallets? And I know that I know as soon as I hear yield, there's a reward. So can you lose it inside a Trezor or a because you are putting it in a market outside that market, even though it's in, you may have the thing of, well, I have it in the Trezor wallet, but Trezor is running something outside for you to be receiving yield. There is risk to you losing it. I don't know if I explained that, but I want people to know just because it's on a Trezor and you're running
Well,
gains through that.
how else does the
Well, the yield
alphabet
has to
soup?
come from somewhere.
How else does the alphabet
Well, I
soup
don't know. I'm
reclaim those
just,
coins?
well,
Right.
exactly. And even though it's in a wallet that they can't get to, I believe once you start earning yield in those solid wallets, it's because it's outside that wallet. I believe. I don't know. I'm hoping
Well,
one of y'all can answer it or
again,
look into it for yourselves.
here again, if you're receiving yield within a wallet, I don't suggest that. I suggest earning yield within the actual blockchain of which you're getting yield, whether that be Cosmos, whether that be Persistence, whether that be Tezos, whoever that may be.
Theta.
I suggest you run your own node and you get paid individually instead of having a third party
Delegating it.
to a 1099.
Thank you. To let people know that there is, it's for y'all to do your own research, and if you don't know, then you better investigate because you got till April, according to these guys. And I'm trying to keep, because people are going to go, I didn't know I had it in my Trezor. I had it in my, I don't understand it. I don't play the yield game. I play
And
my
that's
also
why I
select
have it
Javier,
on multiple
also
wallets. I keep
also
multiple
Javier,
wallets of different
yeah.
values because if one wallet is ever compromised, then you don't lose it all. So I have multiple wallets holding XRP. I have multiple wallets holding Persistence or Digibyte or Bitcoin or Litecoin, all the above. So
And you
if
know,
Yeah.
it doesn't
wallet
even
is
have to
compromised,
be.
I don't lose it
No,
all.
that's a good way. I mean, to protect yourself and diversify a little bit. You know, that's just life. But I mean, you know, there are ways to do it, and I know we're going over now, but there are ways to do it even in a software wallet, you know, that you download on your computer. You have a seed
Yes.
phrase, you deposit your
Koinomi
coins.
is a pretty good
It
wallet.
is. I like Koinomi. And so what you could do is open up a Koinomi wallet, you throw all your funds in there and delete the wallet. And then it's not running anywhere, and you've got your seed phrase to restore it on whatever wallet at that point that you want to be able to transact. That way it's completely offline. So you can do that too. So it's not on a phone, it's not on your computer. You know, it's still on the blockchain. You just, nobody can access it until you restore it with the tools.
Javier's got a doggo bite, I think.
I know, right?
Yeah, no, he's all over. He's ready for me to play. I'm going to tell
I
you,
get it.
Steak. I thank you for being there. Thank you for me being able to hash it out with you because you have enlightened me to dig so much deeper than I've ever been able to, and that's why I ask the questions, and I'm sure I frustrate you, but because I interrupt
man,
a
I
lot,
appreciate
but I
it.
want more, and
That's how we learn,
I
man.
do enjoy that bantering.
I like your
and
passion,
and
Javier.
same. Well, I enjoy it. You know what? I finally found a hobby that I truly enjoy, and I'm glad I'm amongst guys that are willing to go outside their box and dig deeper for the real answer. Whether we like the coin or not like the coin, it doesn't matter. We hash it out. We try to get that information for the chemistry that we have. Then I would just be floating back here, and you've really pushed me up to another level. All of y'all. So
Thank you.
thank you all for that.
I am. Thank you as well. Steak, what about privacy coins on off ramps in countries banning our syntax in cryptos? Well, privacy coins are an issue because the EU doesn't want it, and I don't think intelligence services want it either. So Monero or Zcash or things like that will have an issue on and off ramps. I think that they will be controlled. I don't think that that's new news.
there was a bounty
Yeah.
on Monero from, I think, the IRS or from one of the government agencies here in the U.S. to where it's like, hey,
I
go
remember
crack
that.
their code.
Remember after
They're
McPhee
targeting it.
died? Remember after McPhee died, and
Yeah.
then his developer responsible for the entire ledger got, I think in South Africa, from his plane got taken into custody, and we haven't heard from him since. So you don't know what's happening there, but syntax in cryptos, yeah, of course. I mean, of course, like the whole angle that I've read up on is that Tron and Justin Sin with the whole Tether and Huobi business is possibly tied into, or at least that's what they say, is that there are funds going in and out that are being used to buy fentanyl with in the US. So they're throwing some dirt with the fentanyl crisis on that angle just to sell that narrative. So don't be
Yeah.
surprised in the US when you say, well, Tether is going to be banned because, and good thing too that everything blew up because, these crypto guys, they buy drugs and they created the drug problem in America.
Yeah.
And that's why
That's what
everyone,
they're
and that's
gonna
when it's going
say.
to tank to, and then it's going to tank to Bitcoin for a day because Tether blows up and all the exchanges know it's going to tank the price a little bit. The ETF of Bitcoin gets approved, BlackRock buys up all the shit, and everyone retail that's not in crypto will think, well, I don't want to do anything with that fentanyl business. It's not me. Fuck those assholes. And that's where they got the normies right where they want them, right? And that's where and the interesting thing will be is, are they going to sell the same piece of news then on Fox and CNN? That's when you know you're being fucked, when both those guys say the same thing, right? That's when you know you're going to be fucked.
Yep.
And that's what I think is going to happen. That's what I look for.
And so come next year, it'll all be happy talk once they got all their systems in place and say, oh, Bitcoin's awesome. Invest in the
it's
ETF.
great.
Here's the best way, safest way to do it. We got it all set up for you guys.
Yeah,
go
we
on.
fixed it all for you.
It's
We
all
fixed the
safe.
wealth inequality. You're welcome. You can thank us now.
Yeah. Well,
Jamie
and
Dimon for
also
president.
Look at the day of XRP at $3.80, and they were showing on CNBC exactly how to buy it.
Exactly. It's like, this is how you get it. I remember the guy
high?
doing it.
And just to put it in the American
Here's how
sense,
we
just
sell
to
it
put
to
it
you
in,
is what they're saying.
put it in the American sense. So remember that cock that I used to fuck you deeply with? I'm going to do it even deeper now. It's going to go even deeper, and you're going to love it.
Ron
So
Jeremy for president.
Oh shit!
But
and everyone is applauding and saying, "Yeah, we want this, vote it, blue,
and
red,
it's
fuck yeah."
It's been proven time and time again.
Even bigger now.
If you do the opposite of CNBC and this and that, you're correct more than 95% of the time.
Yes.
So, and same thing with this Jim Cramer idiot. I mean,
What
there's no problem with Bear Stearns. Really?
Well, he's part of the problem.
Really?
He's part of the narrative, though. I mean,
Hey, Bernanke, won a Nobel Prize because you fuck retail so hard. Thank you. You're a great man.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you,
He made us a
Bernanke.
lot of money.
Thank you with your subprime fucking mortgages. So now whole millennials can't buy houses, have birth rates.
Right.
So we won't have pensions in 2040. So he fucked the housing market and the pension market. Of course he's getting a Nobel Prize. He's a fucking warrior to them. He's like, yeah, more power to the legacy system. Oh man, that cock's just gonna get bigger and bigger. You're saying we're being cockblocked, Javier. I say we're being anally raped. So don't be raped. Get in cold storage.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
just
that's
so
the
we
gist
know,
of it.
we're a little.
Gives a different definition to Pride Day.
And just so you know, the people at the XRP go into some of those spaces more and asking some of the questions that I didn't get answered. I'm sorry that Karma couldn't be there. I know that he's a world of knowledge, but I know that there's information out there, and I'm here to learn. I want to truly learn. Sometimes I'm rough around the edges, but I know y'all are big boys, and I ask questions that some know how to put it in the right terms, and it seems offensive, but it's truly to find out more information. And I'm here for that reason on any crypto, including my favorites. If I find out my favorites are shit coins, and more power to it. These guys felt it out. Anytime you want to come to the truth, coming in.
You need a T-shirt, Javi, that says Mas Tequila.
Mas tequila.
That's your
Thank you.
T-shirt. Mas tequila. That's gonna
Yes.
fix it, baby. Mas tequila.
Yes, it always does. I hope to
Yeah,
do
well,
Or
that.
you could have a
I got-
you could have a T-shirt with tequila. That's
That's what you need. Mas tequila.
one
I
day
hope
we
to
will
see
be
y'all
in
here
Cabo.
soon in
One day we'll be
October.
in Cabo at the Cabo Wabo Cantina,
Yeah.
and I'll be up on stage with Van Halen singing Mas Tequila.
There you go, right there. A little Cabo
There you
Wabo
go.
shout out. Yeah.
God.
nice.
Hey, he's got them all.
The thing is, I got all the empty bottles. I need some full ones.
Okay,
Time to re-up.
maybe
Time to
October.
re-up.
Hopefully October.
So I'm
Anyway,
holding my
guys, we've
crypto,
been here.
so I'll be able to get those bottles. I'll be fine, come next
Yeah.
year. Hold
Yeah.
your crypto, have it in your possession, so that you can get the stuff that you want, when you want it, because you'll
You'll
have
see
what
me
you
before
need.
then.
We should print some T-shirts with I am the exit liquidity.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. God dang, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're 2 minutes, or no, sorry, 2 minutes, 2 hours, 10 minutes in.
All right.
Any closing words or anything that y'all want to leave us or leave the audience with? Maybe a carrot for next week, or maybe something to dive deeper and think about with what's going on with XRP currently. Anything y'all wish to?
Well, Lisa posed that question. I'm gonna get back to that with AMAX. And,
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I'll ask
big
around.
big shout out to Auto Everything Wraps Bling. He's putting a lot of comments in there. No,
Yeah.
I get it. I get your analogy, and I get it. I just I think there's a lot of narratives out there with XRP that I don't think are 100% accurate, but I'm not dogging XRP. I want to see how that
You have
works.
a few.
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand how that process works, and I got a good feel for it. I'm getting my head around it.
Same here. Like I
So
said,
no,
and I know
thanks for all the comments. No, I appreciate it, because it's we're all learning this. We're all trying to figure it out because it's happening. Just going to figure out how it goes. But yeah, definitely hold your cryptos. That's the most important thing. Learn how to self-custody. Don't put it on a platform just because you got to buy it on a platform typically, but take it off of the platform. Don't buy it on a platform where you're stuck. I mean, for a while, everybody's buying Dogecoin on Robinhood and they couldn't get it off. It's like it's stuck there. Yeah, price go up, but what's that mean? It's like, hey, I got all this silver that I bought on contract, but I can't get it delivered. That's a problem. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to take possession of the stuff that you put your energy into, get that tangible resource back, get that asset back. And it's the same with the digital assets. Secure your Bitcoin, your Litecoin, your Digibyte, get it in your own possession, learn how to do that. Don't give custody over to somebody else. I mean, yeah, you'll have to play the game when you want to buy something or transact, but don't leave it all in the bank, so to speak. Hold it in your own possession and then participate in the network when you're ready to go make a transaction. And that's all you want to put into that network, because they control it still. You can control your coins. Make sure you control your coins.
All right, guys. Well, I really enjoyed this evening's chat. Again, I wish Karma the best. I know he's got issues with his ribs. Sent out another link to a young lady. She's welcome to join at any time in the future as well regarding XRP.
That'd be good.
And reach out to me in the future if you'd like to join us in the future and have a few words, maybe Kashta in the future. I enjoy listening to this guy speak on XRP and many things going into the future, and other things that I would like to say to other people who have been here for years and years, like myself, since 2014. I understand a lot of the misconceptions. I understand a lot of the misinformation and disinformation. However, I believe that many of us have been lied to because of that, because many of these so-called maxis, they were wrong. They were wrong of not only is it not just Bitcoin, but they were wrong on Ethereum. They were wrong on XRP. So what else are they wrong about? And their issue with XRP that I seem to hear is that it is a pre-mined. I don't see an issue with a pre-mine, but if you do see an issue with a pre-mine, question yourself, what about the pre-mine of Bitcoin? And if
There's
you want
a million of them
proof-of-work
out there, right?
solution, if you want a proof-of-work solution that can scale to meet the demands of society globally in a decentralized manner, I would look at Digibyte. For
I
the
agree.
centralized, I would suggest XRP, XLM to merge into that centralized system of whichever CBDC they want to follow and track and tax you upon, and you need profit. I am versed in over 100 different crypto. I am diversified in more than 20. So whichever way this goes, I win. And I want to try to enlighten you to maybe see something outside the box that maybe you haven't listened to before. So that's why we're here. We're just here for the information, not selling you anything. So with that, I want to thank you all. Y'all go make it a day. Love you all.